Welcome back to part 2 on this series of analyzing deep work by Newport. Last time we went into detail on what deep work was and why it is the most important skill to cultivate in this new economy. We then talked about strategies for implementing deep work into your life. In this part, we're going to go more into depth on how you can start a habit of deep work successfully. We will then talk about why so many businesses still refuse to allow deep work into their work environment. Finally, we will discuss how to manage your email effectively for the most productivity. What is up, YouTube? My name is Aidan Helfant. I am an upcoming freshman Cornell University student who makes videos on life advice as well as learning and fitness. To start things off, we're first going to talk about implementing downtime to recharge yourself for more deep work. To keep doing deep work every single day, you must have a downtime ritual in your routine. It may seem unproductive to spend an hour of your day winding down every single day, but it leads to more productivity in the long run. Even experts can only get around 4 hours of quality deep work per day. This means that any amount of deep work past this point will mainly be for naught. Our brains can't focus for that long of a period, and you should not act as such. Find a time at the end of your day that you want to end your workday. Your brain has to trust that you don't need to do any work after this time. This means that after you end your workday, you end your workday. No email, no homework, no work obligations whatsoever. The reason for this is simple. Your brain will only allow itself to recharge its deep work stores if it trusts that it does not have any more work to do. Other than this, there are 2 reasons you should create a downtime ritual for your day. The first is that it aids insights. This is because the subconscious part of your brain is always working, even if you're not actively thinking about a problem at the moment. Regular downtime gives your brain the rest it needs to come up with solutions and ideas subconsciously. This is why you often come up with solutions to problems and ideas while doing mundane tasks, going to the shopping market, doing the dishes. The third reason is that the work your downtime replaces is often not that important. If you have already done deep work for the day, then you probably completed your most important task. It is doubtful that the work you aren't doing will kill you in your sleep if you wait until tomorrow. People like to think that the world would fall apart if they did not do their work. What an egotistical way of thinking. The world does not revolve around you. Pointless to act as it does. Implement a downtime ritual. It will only help you in the long run. But if deep work is so effective, why is every business and company not implementing it into their core structure? There are a few main reasons. The main reason for this is that apparent lack of deep work is the principle of least resistance. This principle states that in a business setting without clear feedback on the impact of various behaviors on the bottom line, people will just tend toward the easiest behaviors at the moment. Deep work is hard. I think that's pretty clear from the definition. People generally don't like doing hard things. So many of the inventions that have come about over the past couple of decades have been made specifically to make things easier. This is also why a culture of connectivity exists in most business environments. At first glance, it might seem great to promote such an open and collaborative space for work. The problem is that connection often destroys the environment that is so good for deep work. When people are constantly distracted by coworkers, email, and other work-related things, it becomes impossible to work deeply. This is because of attention residue. When you switch from task A to another task B, your attention doesn't immediately follow. A residue of your attention remains stuck thinking about the original task. This residue gets especially thick if your work on task A was unbounded and of low intensity before you switched, but even if you finish task A before moving on, your attention remains divided for a while. Picture this scenario. You receive an email from your boss asking you to finish the critical research for a meeting coming up in 2 hours. As you start to focus on this task, your coworker John comes up to you with a cookie and offers to take a small lunch break. Getting up, your coworker Rachel asks if you finished the proposal she gave you the day before. Before you can even finish the first bite of your cookie, you get a phone call from your mom for God knows what. Do you see where the problems arise? A culture of connectivity creates an environment that is the antithesis to deep work. So why do businesses keep doing it? The 2 reasons that cultures of connectivity persist. The first one is that working in an environment where workers get answers to a question or piece of information immediately makes their life easier, at least at the moment. If knowledge workers couldn't count on this responsiveness, you would have to do more planning for your work, be more organized, and be prepared to put things aside for a while so that you could do something else while waiting for your request. The second reason is that it creates an environment where it is acceptable to run your day out of your inbox. Workers can respond to the latest message right away and feel just insanely productive. Workers don't have to make hard decisions about planning for the future as they look at their inbox and let it decide for them. This is much easier than implementing something like David Allen's GTD method of productivity. Unfortunately, while it may be easier at the moment to live off of your inbox, it will lead to countless hours of wasted time and deep work in the long run. The issue is that many workers use busyness as a proxy for productivity. In the absence of clear indicators of what it means to be productive and valuable in their jobs, many knowledge workers turn back towards an industrial indicator of productivity, doing lots of stuff visibly. I want to make it very clear that collaboration is still essential. It is through working with others that many of our most incredible ideas and insights come to fruition. This collaboration should only come at the specific parts of the deep work process. If it is universal across the process, the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. As long as deep work and collaboration are kept separate, however, they can lead to incredible results. Here comes the big bad. The main thing that is stopping people from entering into a state of deep work: email. Email has changed the lives of everyone on the planet. Never before has communication been so convenient and easy. While email has improved our lives, it has also created an artificial culture of connectivity. If you want to create a deep work habit, you will have to learn how to manage your email more effectively. There are 3 tips for doing this. Tip number 1 is to make people who send you email do more work. If you visit the contact page on Cal Newport's author website, there's no general purpose email at all. Instead, he lists different individuals you can contact for specific purposes. His literary agent for rights requests, for example, or his speaking agents for speaking requests. If you want to reach him, he offers only a special purpose email address that comes with conditions and a lowered expectation that he will respond. For the reasons stated above, he will only respond to those proposals that are a good match for his schedules and interests. He calls this approach a sender filter, as he's asking his correspondents to filter themselves before attempting to contact him. Tip number 2 is to do more work when you send or reply to emails. When responding or sending emails, most people take the easy way out and make the email as basic as possible. This gets the email out of their inbox in the short term, but leads to more time being spent in the long run going back and forth between parties. When sending or responding, ask yourself what the most efficient process is for bringing the project to a conclusion. Then, try and put your answer in the email to lessen the number of times you have to go back and forth. Tip number 3, don't respond. This philosophy works because it is the sender's responsibility to convince the receiver that a reply is worthwhile. If they don't make a convincing case and make it easy to formulate a response to the matter in question, they don't deserve a response. You should not reply to an email if any of the following is applicable. It's ambiguous or otherwise makes it hard for you to generate a reasonable response. It's not a question or proposal that interests you. Nothing really good would happen if you did respond, and nothing really bad would happen if you didn't. Some people might cringe at these tips as they believe they are rude by using email in this way. So for those people, I have one quote. Develop the habit of letting small bad things happen. If you don't, you will never find time for the life-changing big things. If you don't find a way to reduce your email obligations, you will become a slave to its power. So now that you know the basics of implementing a habit of deep work, it's time for the hard part, making a habit out of it. You know the principles that lead to effective implementation and why it is so hard to do so in the first place. Most people cannot find a way to implement a deep work habit. You are different. The world is changing, and learning new things incredibly fast will be a prerequisite to doing well in the coming times. Deep work is how you do this effectively. Interestingly, deep work is not only for getting more things done. Studies have shown that it is also very fulfilling. There's nothing like getting up after a hard work session of deep work only to look at the clock and see that 2 hours have passed. It felt like 15 minutes. This is the beautiful thing about deep work. When you invest so much into doing something, it is incredibly easy to see time fly by. The feeling is honestly hard to describe. All I can say is that there are little things as fulfilling as finding something you are passionate about and furthering your progress through deep work. If there is one thing that you get from this video and related blog posts, it is that a deep life is a good life. So what are you waiting for? Change the world with deep work. All right, guys and gals, that is gonna wrap the video on up. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to check out my other content on the channel, as well as my blogging website, which hosts a plethora of other things as well. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day, and bye-bye.